Have you ever, like, looked up at the sky and just felt deep in your gut that the Earth is standing perfectly still while the sun moves around us?
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, 2,000 years ago, that story made perfect sense to millions of people just because it felt physically right.
Right, which is exactly the mission of today's deep dive. We're taking a stack of sources on cognitive bias and behavioral psychology to explore this ultimate war in your head.
Yeah, the battle between your emotion and your logic.
Exactly, because that ancient instinct to trust what feels right, well, that's our entry point into finding out why your brain is kind of actively lying to you.
It really is. And that points to what is basically the fundamental glitch in the human machine.
Yeah.
Our brains, they were never designed to find the objective truth.
They were just designed to keep us alive.
Right, to help us survive long enough to pass on our genes. That is it.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to really understand why you make irrational choices, you have to meet the two distinct operators living in your head.
Yeah, Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman's concept of System 1 and System 2.
Right. System one being the fast, instinctive, deeply emotional driver. Like it's the part of you that instantly dodges a hot stove without having to, perform a physics calculation.
Exactly. And then System 2 is what he calls the lazy professor. It's slow, it's effortful, and it's highly logical. It handles the complex computations like deciding on a career path or calculating your taxes.
But I mean, I want to push back on that a little bit based on the sources. We tend to call System 2 lazy as if it's a flaw, but if System 1 successfully kept our ancestors alive against predators, isn't the logical brain's reluctance to engage actually just a highly efficient energy-saving mode?
That is a great analogy, and the source science totally validates that. System 2 requires a massive amount of metabolic energy to function.
Right, specifically in the prefrontal cortex.
So it's a total energy hog.
Yeah.
So to save power, System 2 just takes a backseat. It lets System 1 make these swift, predictable mental shortcuts, which are called heuristics.
And those heuristics are where we get into trouble in the modern world.
What's fascinating here is how that leads straight into the availability trap.
Oh, yeah, the availability heuristic.
Right. We judge the danger of the world based on how easily a scary story comes to mind. Take the data from the sources about 2025, right after that widely publicized mid-air collision.
That was everywhere in the news.
It was. And right after that, 65% of Americans reported feeling anxious about flying.
Which is wild when you look at the actual numbers.
Completely. They were completely ignoring the statistical reality that over 120 people die every single day in U.S. car crashes.
Wow. So we literally just don't listen to data.
Not at all.
Oh.
We listen to the most vivid memory available to us. A plane crash is terrifying, so System 1 grabs that vivid image and screams, danger, even if the math says otherwise.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because that biological reaction is exactly why we react instead of respond in everyday life.
Oh, for sure. The classic amygdala hijack.
Yeah, the sources talk about how your brain's alarm center, the amygdala, literally dims the lights in your logical prefrontal cortex when you're triggered.
It's a real biological rerouting. You
Yeah.
literally cannot access your logic for a second.
Exactly. So you snap at a partner, or you abruptly quit a difficult project, not because it's a smart, calculated choice, but just to eliminate the immediate discomfort of an emotional trigger.
Right. Your brain just wants the bad feeling to stop immediately. So learning to think before reacting, it's actually the deliberate process of waking up that prefrontal cortex again.
You have to force it back online.
Yeah, it requires you to physically pause and ask yourself, is this feeling actually giving me accurate information?
Which takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
But the goal here isn't to become some logic-only robot, right?
No, not at all. Emotions are totally vital.
Right. It's just about ensuring the toddler in the driver's seat isn't the one steering you toward a permanent mistake. You got to gently move them to the passenger seat.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it leaves you with a pretty profound question to mull over.
Oh, I love this part.
If your brain is biologically hardwired to choose comforting illusions over objective reality, what deeply held belief are you currently defending? Simply because it feels safe.